AI startups are resurrecting San Francisco commercial real estate. Google parent chooses AI over real estate for now. We spoke about that a little bit before, but we're also going to be talking about Nvidia. Nvidia may be selling their ownership of basically the land to some investors. Let's talk a little bit about that. Because what most people don't know is that most companies actually do not own the land itself. So we're going to talk about why this is happening and also the opportunities there that these people have. And so when a company is doing incredibly well, this becomes very valuable for those investors to get into. So let's jump into it. Okay, AI startups are resurrecting San Francisco's commercial real estate. AI companies made up almost 1/3 of leasing activity in the city in 2023. So we all have heard how much we all hear about AI, and many of you may be fed up with all these different AI stories, but that trend keeps exploding. Take a look at what's been going on with Nvidia. Like Nvidia's stock has been on an absolute tear. Right. So this has been a huge growth story, especially with a company that's not a new company by any means, but it is ultimately the company that is the backbone for all this growth. I mean, take a look at these numbers. In the last year, Nvidia went up. What is this? This is the last year, 229%. In the last year, what does it look like? Oh God. In 5 years, 1,600%. And it's still on a tear, right? Like, even though we've all heard about Nvidia and people are probably sick and tired of it, unless you work at Nvidia, like, who would have thought, like, even in the last year when things have already increased tremendously, that it would have gone up another 200 something plus percent. So all those people at Nvidia, you got to reach out to me. Everyone that has friends at Nvidia, you got to be like, you got to talk to Spencer because you should be buying a place. But the idea is that there are certain companies that continue to do incredibly well. And there's a lot of companies that continue to get a lot more funding as the opportunity is still so great. So take a look at this. Roughly 3.8 million square feet is leased from AI companies. And the projection of next year, or this current year, will be ending up at 4.8 million square feet. That is incredible. Take a look at this. In 2023, AI companies' share of all San Francisco leasing activity. Now, on one end, a lot of companies that may not necessarily have that much AI focus in it will probably call themselves AI just because it's easier to raise capital. It's more exciting right now. Just like before, there was different things about I'm a machine learning company, et cetera, et cetera. But the talent, quite frankly, continues to relocate and have their base here, right? Even I think YC, they recently moved its headquarters to that area. I think they were down in like the peninsula side before. Like the momentum of all this energy, all these people are back now in the city, especially because a lot of the places in San Francisco have been so discounted. Now, this is also impacting the people that choose to live in San Francisco. Like I was just hosting an open house in the Intermission, and it was a terrible wet day over the weekend, as you guys can imagine, but it was still decently busy. It wasn't like anything special for that place. It was a nice place. At that point, it was about $1.35 million for a 2-bed, 2-bath, kind of those condo conversion types of units, 300 HOA, I think around 1,300 square feet plus or minus. And there were still like 10 groups of people that came in on Saturday. My guess Sunday had a little bit less than that. But it's a decent amount of activity. That wasn't like a single family house by any means. And it was in the Intermission, but it gives you an idea like there is activity, there is interest because one, things are getting a lot cheaper there. Rent is less. And you may not hear as much versus like last year where there's rampant crime. So hopefully as those get better, as people continue to flock back into the area, and it is election year, that these will continue to improve the dynamics of what's been going to San Francisco. So I have a lot of people that are now trying to get into the market of buying a place there, maybe an investment property there, to be able to take advantage of some of this growth. But really, really exciting and cool to see. Now, we talked about NVIDIA's stock performance, but did you know foreign investors' bold play for NVIDIA's headquartered unleashes real estate bidding wars? Like one of the benefits of owning these properties in the past, people would think about owning like Class A buildings. So, like for example, Salesforce Tower is not by Salesforce. They actually just got the naming rights, similar to like Levi Stadium. Levi's doesn't own the Niner Stadium. Similar idea. But the idea about these corporate campuses, most of the time the companies do not actually own that building or that land. Now, there are some examples that some companies do buy it, but many times they're leased. You have some exceptions, which like Google has some exceptions, Apple has some exceptions, but other ones, they say, look, I'm not in the real estate space. I don't want to take care of this from a reporting perspective, but I'm also not, quite frankly, in that capacity anyways. But take a look at this. Nvidia's Bay Area headquarters complex, so it's a complex, wasn't on the market, but in real estate, cash is king and everyone has a price. A large foreign investor made an unsolicited 9-figure offer, which means 100 million plus, to purchase a large portion of the Silicon Valley's chipmaker's 7-building campus. Right? Real estate firm confirmed it is representing the property owner, an LA firm, which according to his website manages $4 billion worth of properties. Since then, the sellers have multiple inquiries from other parties because, of course, if you're getting a bid for a place, the first thing you do is reach out to other people, see anyone else is interested to try to drive it up. And this becomes now, in a sense, a kind of a public auction. And when you have a company that is doing as incredible as Nvidia is doing, people would be happy to own basically a piece of that. Because if you think about it, the tenant base of it isn't really going to go anywhere, right? Especially if they just built that new campus only a couple of years ago. And so some people say, look, I need to park my money somewhere. This is in my eyes a Class A property, maybe A+ property. I'm willing to buy all this space, right? So as you can see that's what's been going on. A couple other things. He said the property plan. The interesting part about their land too is because they have all sorts of different uses. Like it's not just office listings. You can see they have some data centers, some manufacturing and lab facilities. So it's a little bit of a unique mixed use space. Another appealing feature is the fact that the city of Santa Clara owns and operates its own not-for-profit Silicon Valley Power, which allows it to set its own pricing. So that's beneficial because then they have the potential to also gain access of roughly 2 million square feet of future development rights. Between 2018 and 2022, Nvidia built and opened 2 new office buildings in the area. That's what I mentioned. They included and added up to 1.2 million square foot of space. Buildings named Voyager and Endeavor are not part of the impending sale, which was first reported by Bloomberg. So the idea is, as you can see, when things are very attractive, there are different people that would be happy to buy that existing space, or the other play is building things around it. Take a look at what's been going on for a long time. In Cupertino, near Apple's headquarters, remember what happened with Valco Shopping Center? It went back and forth for a long, long time. But who's a developer that can do something about that and create opportunities? You can see when you have flush capital like Abu Dhabi investment arms or Saudi Arabia funds, these massive funds, sovereign wealth funds across the globe, they have the ability to do these incredible projects, long-term visions. They don't necessarily need to have like these massive ROIs, but these are like staple products. They can say, look, we built these whole commercial ecosystems right next to these massive tech companies and these massive tech centers. That is a lot to brag about. So just kind of interesting thing that I wanted to bring up, like these things do happen in terms of popularity. Like they weren't even for sale, but look, at the same time, if you give us a good offer, a good number, deals can be made because everything has a price to it. Well, that's it for this week. There's not a whole lot of interesting headlines in general. If you haven't seen already, check out the latest market update that was on, I think I released it on Sunday. I went over the latest data. You can take a look at it right over here. And of course, if you're looking to make a move here in the Bay Area, my name is Spencer Hsu, and we would be happy to help you along with your goals. Thank you for everyone that has already reached out this week. We've had a lot more people than usual make their moves much earlier, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye now.